Come manifest your best life with 190 Vision.
My husband and I are having a discussion about a topic that comes up from individuals in regard to when their loved one has passed on. Why do they still want to communicate with them? Honey,
Yes, ma'am.
why do our departed loved ones, once they've passed on, still want to communicate with us?
There are many reasons from what I've been told, and we'll sort of go through a few that I'm aware of. And of course, this is probably not a complete list, right? But just so we're organized, and also not in order, as in this is not number one or this is not number two. I'm just placing numbers on them just to have a sense of order.
Okay.
So you made the statement, you asked the question, why do they want to communicate with them? And when you asked the question, it sounded ambiguous to me. So I just want to make sure that we clarify that when you ask the question, why do they want to communicate with them? It's more, for the most part, it's more about the departed loved ones wanting to communicate with the ones that are still on earth, correct? Not the other way around, even though that happens as well.
Correct.
Yeah, we've been approached by individuals that say, oh, I'd like to talk to my mom or my sister. So the one that's still on earth, they also want to communicate. That's a question of its own as well, I would say. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think that going through these probably applies both ways now that I think about it. So we're going to talk about why the departed loved ones want to communicate with us that are still alive. But from what I see here, it applies the other way as well. Why do we want to communicate with them after they're gone? And you'll see why I say that, then let me know if you agree, okay?
Okay.
So the first reason why they want to communicate, and by the way, it could be any of your loved ones, right? Mm-hmm. As in your grandmother, your mom, sibling, including, what's that?
Your friends.
I was gonna say, including like a very close friend. Mm-hmm. That also happens a lot. So it's not just your family members, it's someone that you've developed a close relationship with. And sometimes it's not even a close relationship. It could be someone that you don't even get along with. Just in case people are thinking, oh, you have to be good friends with them, or you have to have this very positive relationship.
Right.
That's not true. It could have been a very torrid relationship where you guys don't even stand each other. And yet still they come through. So why is that?
Are you asking me?
Well, we'll get to them here, and then let me know if they fit, right? So the first one is, they probably see the individual that they want to communicate with in a situation that's similar to theirs. It's a very similar experience, right?
Okay.
So because of that, they want to help the individual through it because they went through something very similar. Let's say, for example, a lady, she gave birth to a child, and then after that, she goes into this postpartum depression.
Okay.
Which happens a lot, correct?
Yes.
So imagine if she goes through that and she's not sure how to handle it. Well, she could have a departed loved one that went through something similar, and that loved one now is coming through, trying to help her through it.
That makes sense.
Right? So what are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts are that's nice that they want to come through, but will it really help? And how do they, I mean, besides going through someone like you, how would they know that a loved one is trying to get through to them to help them with what they're experiencing, that postpartum depression?
That's a really good question. From your experience, what did you experience? How would they know?
Well, there are different signs, as people say, that you would know your loved one is around. Like for me, maybe it would be with my dad when he comes through sometimes, maybe the pipe tobacco smell because he would smoke pipes. Okay, so it could be something like that where you just know them, you just feel their presence, you smell something familiar from them, or maybe you have all of a sudden just a quick flashing thought about them, and maybe something that the loved one had said to you. So those are different ways.
Good point. How about they've talked about electronics?
Oh yes, they might communicate with you by flashing lights, or maybe playing a song that applies, the lyrics apply to the situation at the time.
Or maybe their favorite song, right?
The one who passed, the loved
Right.
one's favorite song, right?
Or it could be a song or a sound or some type of saying, like a phrase that the person is known for or both individuals share. You know, that's another one. All of a sudden you see that just from nowhere, you experience that song or you see that phrase on a passing truck or something. Go ahead.
I was going to say another one that I've seen individuals write about is all of a sudden a feather might appear out of nowhere, just landing right in front of them, or a butterfly, which should not be around them, is all of a sudden flying around them. Something like that, very simple, and you question it, but it's a physical thing, and then it makes you think about that loved one, and then sometimes you get I'll call it guidance. You'll just feel the thoughts from them, maybe, for that connection.
Right. So that's one way, right? Next way is you get in touch with someone that has that connection with the higher self, which is stronger at this time than where you are, whomever the person is that is being contacted. So they can deliver the message to the individual. So that's another way. And really, if you pay attention, or if someone were to pay attention, they'd see ways that their loved ones are trying to communicate with them based on some of the things you just said. Those are very common ways that someone can tell that their loved one is present. Right?
Right.
Okay. So that was not part of the topic, but I think that's important that you bring that up. So that's good. So hopefully we've covered something there that will help someone. It could even be a piece of clothing. I know one of my favorites is one of our community members where his wife chimes in, right? She chimes in using that chime sound. I think that's pretty neat. Then of course, going back, what's that?
Through the doorbell.
I don't know.
Chime.
Is it through a doorbell? Is it a doorbell sound? Oh.
Right. It's yep.
And it goes on his phone as well? Because I thought that he got. Oh, okay. I don't know those. What's that?
Ring is an app that you can install anywhere, and you're chimed every time someone goes past your front door.
Ah, okay. Got it.
Works for him. Another one that just came to mind, though, which has happened to us, is when a complete stranger just comes up to us and starts telling us something, and we're like, oh, and it was something we needed to hear, an answer that we were, waiting for. So that might also happen.
You give an example of that one? Do you have an example?
For us, it's happened many times.
Oh.
You and I have been talking, and then, we'll be out doing something together, like going to the store or whatever, and all of a sudden a stranger will come up, and that will be the exact topic and answer that we were discussing maybe a couple hours previous, and we're like, oh.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, that just happened not too long ago, like a few days ago, or maybe last week. Right, I know what you're talking about. Right, that's another one. And right, that even you might wind up reading an article that answers your question.
Right.
No, that's another one, and that's how they guide you, right? Another one is through dreams. They might dream about them.
Yes.
To hear the rest of this story, go to 190 Vision TV on Roku TV or Amazon Fire.